In the dead of the night, precisely at 2 o'clock, Virat mustered the courage to confront the inky expanse of the Kishnoi River. This river, a geographical landmark, was straddling the enigmatic and less-travelled border between the Indian states of Meghalaya and Assam. The darkness of the night hung heavily around him like a dense woolen cloak, obscuring the rich, verdant landscapes that flourished during the day. The only sound that punctuated the otherwise deadly silence was his soft, rhythmic breathing and the occasional rustle of nocturnal creatures lurking in the dense undergrowth nearby. The ominous clouds overhead were like mottled grey spectres. They seemed to be whispering veiled threats of an impending downpour. These menacing whispers created an eerie symphony with the rhythmic lapping of the water against the riverbanks and the soft rustling of leaves in the wind. Gust of wind carried with it a foreboding chill, making the hairs on Virat's exposed arms stand on end. The Kishnoi River under the moonless night was a black mirror reflecting the profound void above. It was almost as if the river was a tangible manifestation of the infinite cosmos, filled with unanswered mysteries and undiscovered stories. Despite its intimidating appearance, the river flowed gently, lapping at his legs with a kind of icy indifference. Its waters, a dark liquid velvet, barely reached his knees. The smell of wet earth, the croaking of distant frogs and the ticking of nocturnal insects added a sense of realism to the otherwise surreal experience. Despite overwhelming sense of dread that the darkness imposed, Virat found himself entranced by the raw, unhindered beauty of nature. This daunting journey he undertook was not just a physical one, but also an exploration of his inner fears and strengths. He was alone, yet he was accompanied by the nocturnal symphony of nature. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat a reminder of the challenge he had undertaken, the danger he was facing. Despite the obstacles, he continued, his determination unwavering. The river, a black mirror under the moonless night, flowed gently, its waters barely reaching his knees. As Virat waded deeper into the river, a sudden chill ran down his spine. The previously serene scene now felt charged with an eerie energy. The nocturnal symphony around him seemed to grow softer, as though the creatures of the night were holding their breath, waiting for something. The river, once a mirror reflecting the void above, now seemed like a dark abyss, holding secrets in its depths. The rustling leaves, the distant croaking of frogs, the ticking of nocturnal insects, all seemed to fade into a whisper. His heartbeat grew louder in his ears, each thump echoing through the silence like a drum. A shiver ran through him, his skin prickling in response to the unseen presence around him. The calm river suddenly seemed more menacing. Its gentle lapping against his legs now felt like icy fingers trying to grip him. The inky black water mirrored his fear, rippling with his shuddering breaths. The air grew colder, the chill seeping into his bones, making him shudder. Yet Virat shrugged off the feeling, attributing it to the spooky tale of the Yakshini that Vandana had told him. He chuckled softly, shaking his head at his own foolishness. It was just a story after all, a mere folklore meant to frighten children and gullible adults. Ignoring the ominous feeling, he continued his journey, his determination unwavering. He was there to confront his fears and not to be swayed by old wives' tales. Yet as he moved further into the river, he couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched, of being followed. Unaware of the impending danger, he pedaled on into the heart of the mysterious crossing. A solitary mobile torch served as his beacon, cutting through the inky black abyss, pushing back the veil of night as he pedaled forward. His bicycle, the loyal companion, was his steed, its tires humming against the rough, untravelled crossing. The air was restless, carrying the melancholy whispers of the wild, the hushed secrets of the night. Just then, the tinny ring of his phone punctuated the silence. A welcome distraction from the solitude, a call from Vandana reached him. Her name illuminated the screen, a beacon of familiarity in this unfamiliar traverse. As he answered, her voice, a melody of concern and affection, flowed into his ears. It was a voice that was laced with worry, echoing in the darkness, accompanying the quiet hum of his bike. She warned him, her words painting vivid images of the hidden dangers that lurked in the river at night. Tales of an enigmatic figure weaved into the fabric of the village lore. A phantom, a spirit, a chilling remnant of a forgotten past that was known to haunt the nocturnal landscape. Her stories were carefully sewn with the threads of caution and fear, a vivid tapestry of local folklore. And as he listened, his heart fluttered, a subtle dance between curiosity and apprehension. Her tales stirred the air around him. The night now seemed filled with shadowy secrets. He could almost see the phantom she spoke of, lurking in the darkness, its form as elusive as the wind. Amidst the growing fascination and fear, Virat found amusement in her concern. He was not one to lend credence to tales spun by the fire at night. With a soft chuckle, he brushed it off, considering it as nothing more than an old wives' tale. Vandana, her voice trembling with anxiety, cautioned him against the Yakshini, pleading with him to never utter her name. Her brown eyes glistened with fear and unshed tears in the dim moonlight, reflecting the grave apprehension she felt. In the eerie silence of the night, Virat could hear the faint sound of his own heartbeats. His eyes met Vandana's, and he saw a flicker of desperation that he had not seen before. She was deadly serious, her plea genuine and urgent. He, however, was undeterred. Virat saw this more as an opportunity to tease the love of his life, rather than an ominous to heed. He was a man of humour, valiant and unafraid, and he intended to keep it that way. So with a mischievous glint in his eyes, he let the forbidden name roll off his tongue, much to Vandana's horror. The echo of Yakshini filled the night, resonating ominously in the silent surroundings. The wind rustled through the trees and a shudder seemed to run through the universe itself. A playful banter followed, his booming laughter contrasting sharply with silent sobs. He teased her about her forgetfulness, particularly pertaining to their upcoming wedding anniversary. It was a light-hearted jab, an attempt to ease the tension that had suddenly descended upon them. Vandana, however, seemed lost in her own thoughts, her mind preoccupied with the grave warning she had issued and the possible consequences of Virat's reckless actions. Yet, the conversation carried on, the echo of Yakshini still lingering in the air. A playful banter ensued, with Virat teasing Vandana about her forgetfulness concerning their upcoming wedding anniversary. As Virat journeyed further into the dense foliage leading towards the river, a voice reached his ears. It was a soft, haunting sound, charged with a familiar energy that stirred his senses. It was a voice he had known for years, a voice that used to make his heart pound with joy, with expectation. It was Pile's voice, a melodic symphony that was as much part of his life as his own heartbeat. Yet, she was not here, not physically present. He scanned his surroundings, his eyes falling on the endless expanse river that seemed to keep secrets of its own. He saw the rocks, the trees, the clear blue water flowing smoothly under the bright sky, but he didn't see her. There was no sight of Pile, no trace of her existence anywhere near him. Yet her voice echoed around him, bouncing off the trees, stirring the water, piercing the silence. His mind raced, trying to make sense of this eerie phenomenon, an onslaught of emotions, confusion, fear, desperation, and a strange hint of excitement. Was this real, he wondered? Was he hearing things, or was this actually happening? He questioned his sanity, the reality of what he was experiencing. He felt the cold breeze, heard the rustling leaves, and saw the river flow in rhythm. But the voice, Pile's voice, was an anomaly. Was it his imagination? A figment of his yearning heart, longing for her presence? Or was it a ghostly whisper, a spectral voice carried by the wind, a voice from the other side? Could it be a result of the very old and mysterious Yakshini tale that spoke of spirits and otherworldly entities? His mind swirled with questions, his senses heightened, yet he found no answers. It was a bizarre moment, a paradox of surrealism and reality. As Virat journeyed further into the river, a voice reached his ears. It was Pile's voice, yet she was nowhere to be seen. His mind raced, trying to make sense of it. Was it his imagination, a ghostly whisper carried by the wind? Or was it a result of the Yakshini tale? Suddenly, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. A girl, radiant in her beauty, draped in a black sari, beckoned him. Fear gripped him initially, but her allure was too strong to resist. He found himself ensnared by her charm, succumbing to an intimate encounter on the riverbank. However, the romantic interlude was cut short. The girl's features twisted, her youthful visage dissolving into the wrinkled face of an old woman, the Yakshini. The chilling realization of his grave mistake hit him like a bolt of lightning. The Yakshini, in her true form, confessed her identity and exacted her revenge, taking his life as payment for his lustful actions. The final scene unfolded with the Yakshini dissolving into the night, leaving behind nothing but Virat's lifeless body. The rain that had threatened to fall all along finally ceased, marking the eerie end of this supernatural encounter. A chilling reminder of the dangers that lurk in the shadows, of the fatal consequences of dismissing folklore, and the tragic end of a man who dared to challenge the supernatural.